The handing over of the Muhammadu Buhari administration to a new one is nigh at hand on May the 23rd, 2023. And there are a number of federal government projects expected to be commissioned before he takes a bow. One such project, 24 years in the making since first issuance, is the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, inherited from previous administrations. Now, in this sophomore report on the construction of the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, as it nears its completion stage, though tedious and long drawn out with attendant consequences, forms the basis of this week's edition of Special Report. This constant traffic jam is one that has motorists getting the short end of the stick.
We don't have option. We have to commute. We have to go and come back no matter what, you know. It's not about getting used to it. They should hasten the work. They should hasten it. Like, we know they are trying, but they should try harder.
They need to do something about this Opic road downward, because we can't be experiencing this every day. It's bad. Right now I have an appointment right now and those people are already waiting for me. But because of this, I need to wait like extra 45 minutes.
There are calls for speedy completion of the project, which is considered to be taking forever to end.
They should just do something about this road. Well, I've been on this road for the past how many years and there's no solution still. It's so bad. They should just quickly find a solution to it.
January the 15th was the date given for work to resume after a hiatus because of the holidays. But the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing says the earlier resumption is to catch up with time.
Like the Honorable Minister said, this work, we are mandated to deliver it during the first quarter of this year. And that's what we are working towards. And that's part of why you saw the contractor rushing to the road. March is the first quarter. By the end of March, let's say by April, we are out.
And there are promises to remove the barriers to allow those on holidays return to work.
Let me tell you, maybe it came as a rude shock to some people that were just coming back yesterday. But if you go now, you check up to the bridge, there is no hold up on the bridge. The one we experienced is and nothing changed. Not as if anything changed. But kind of, you know, Nigerians, I mean, just there are people, when they are coming, they just see something out of apprehension. This thing developed. But today, everything has returned to almost normal. You go to the bridge now, there is no single vehicle there on the bridge. It's free. But then, that does not mean we are still not going to remove the barrier, because over the weekend, we expect more people to travel. And that's why we're going to do that.
From this point to the smooth ride, but heading here is a tug of war. Hours earlier, the barricades are removed, but with a promise to return to work if the government keeps to its promise of completing the project by the first quarter of 2023. And after many efforts, you'll have 10 years of fixing this road.
I left home since some minutes to 4, and this is 12 o'clock. I'm still on the road. This is terrible. 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 The place where we make U-turn before, they blocked it and opened another place. And this is the serious cause of everything that is happening now. For the past 1 week, we have been facing this rubbish.
This is what I face every day. I live at Mowe Bafo. This is what I face every day, very bad. So please, let us to tell the Nigerian government, they should tell Julius Berger. It's like they are happy about what people are experiencing on this road. And I know that if they are passing this road, they will not, the government, they will quit, they will move to another an alternative road to find a way for themselves. We are tired of this, sir. Please.
Despite the construction, we've been moving, but this is just unusual. So I can't see what's going on in front. The construction has been going on, it's been a slow-moving traffic. But for this standstill situation, it's very strange. So maybe there's a broken down trailer somewhere, I don't know.
The unabating gridlock on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway due to the construction work on the corridor continues to cause untold hardship for motorists and commuters. It takes hours on end to cover short distances outbound and inbound Lagos, further worsened by motorists intentionally failing to comply with traffic rules
by driving one way.
The federal government has been on that project for about 8 years, and I think they're nearing completion right now. And the last leg is the Lagos bound, which they've been afraid to do. But in trying to complete this project, what they have done is to embark on 3 sections of the road, and that is the toll gate, Otedola section, the Beggar section, as well as Opix, Kara section in Ogun State. And in trying to do them simultaneously, that has put a lot of pressure on Lagos State. So what do I mean by that? That carriageway is about 4 lanes, and what they've done is they've divided it into 2, and they've given us 2 lanes while they walk on 2 lanes. But unfortunately, with the demand coming from Lagos going towards Opix, 2 lanes can't cut it. But let me even dissect the 2 lanes. So you have 2 lanes from the toll gate going towards Beggar, and then 2 lanes going towards Opix. When you get to Opix, there's an estate called Opix Estate. A lot of people turn in, they turn right into that estate. And unfortunately, there is some kind of palliative being done in Opix Estate by FEMA. And so that delays traffic going into Opix. And so technically what you have is 1 lane going through all the way to Ogun State. And it's that backlog that you see coming to Lagos. And once that backlog gets to Ojota Cloverleaf, and it locks up the whole of Lagos, it's paralyzed.
Last week, the Lagos State government assured motorists of its collaboration with the federal government to ease the traffic on Kara-Berger-Opik access.
So what we did was to call a meeting. So we had the special advisor to the governor on transportation, on the works and infrastructure. We had the commissioner for transport, Ogun State, their representative at that meeting. We had Trace, we had LASMA, and then we had the contractor to review the traffic management plan and to see what we could do. So what we proposed to them was that rather than walk at 3 junctions at the same time, why don't you just finish one and then move to the other? When you finish that one, then you move to the third one, rather than trying to finish the whole project in April and try to strangle the rest of us in Lagos. So they said they would take it to their minister, and the minister will give an approval. So that's what we're waiting for. But pending that time, we have LASMA and Trace working collaboratively. We've asked the contractor to help us to prioritize Opix, and what they did overnight was to smoothen the surface and then expand the lanes to 3 lanes, so that you have 2 lanes going through and then 1 lane. And that's why you have a bit of respite today. But our biggest challenge is the breakdowns that we encounter along that road all the time. But I think we have procured 2 tolling vehicles so that they can respond to any breakdown as quickly as possible. And we're just working collaboratively with Trace, just to make sure that we're able to manage the traffic. But in managing traffic around Lagos also, it's just a combination of trying to deploy technology, trying to equip our LASMA officials just to make sure that people are able to move seamlessly from one point to the other. There's a lot of projects going on in Lagos, so you're bound to have obstructions, and it's how you manage that. That's the key question here.
That seems to be yielding minimal results as the situation persists irrespective of the time of day.
Yes, you're right. It's taking time, but we're working with the local government, we're working with federal government, and these 3 arms of government have to work collaboratively to make sure that we have a seamless operation. Sometimes politics get in the way, but I think we're making progress eventually.
Motorists who ply the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway may have to endure the traffic situation a lot more longer, going by the work plan of the federal government.
At the end of the day, we believe that the work will be in our favor. But what we've noticed is that they didn't plan properly. It is clear that they didn't plan properly. When maybe a 10 kilometers road is now taking 10 years to construct, then all of a sudden, towards the end like this, towards the end of the year, you now have them working on so many portions at the same time. And the effect is really bad on us because we already know what the traffic situation is going to be like on this stretch anyway. But the thing is, are they going to open it up fully, or are they just going to open one part of it? If they are going to open one part of it, then it will still be the same thing. The traffic is bound to be there, and it's bound to be very bad. There was a Saturday night. I needed to pick someone up at the airport. I left my house at about 7, and by 9 o'clock, I had not even turned. So it took me 2 hours, less than 200 meters is what we're talking about. Eventually, I had to turn back home, and then the guy I was supposed to pick made other arrangements.
Is trying to get the
Federal Controller Works Lagos, Umar Bakare, while responding to questions from stakeholders, says there's a deadline of May 2023 for the completion of the road.
Time is what we're running after, May, but it's also good to be able to deliver this project to people without making everybody die. If there is an emergency, the rate of evacuation is impossible. Up till 2 a.m., my phones were still buzzing. What is happening? That's why the fact that I'm not the Commissioner for Transport. Nobody can, if there is ambulance or emergency services, nobody can move on that road. And it's almost like thrice in a week it would occur.
The point I'm trying to make right now is how can we assure Lagosians that, okay, we'll put priority on OPICs, we'll open up OPICs, because OPICs, as long as OPICs is not open up, forget about what you're doing in Bega or whatever. When there's a breakdown, the whole place will go haywire. How can you prioritize OPICs and get out of OPICs maybe within a week or 2 weeks, etc. So we know that, okay, we're facing it, because that's the key point. And then move to Bega as well as Tollgate. That's what we want to understand.
But targeting completing the major work in May, the only thing that can make it possible for us is for the contractor to work. If we don't do that now, the project is going to extend to another year. There are 2 ways to it. We can do it in such a way that it will last a lot longer. And we can do it in such a way that it will take a very short time. The effect of the two are different.
He goes on to say that the contractor has been directed to work a bit longer while all traffic management systems have been activated to ease the commuting. But the Minister of Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, is assessing the ongoing construction work from the tollgate area to Otedola Bridge and then Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, with assurances that the project will be completed on April the 30th, ahead of the inauguration of the project by President Muhammadu Buhari.
This is a small part of their 44-kilometer stretch. So they finished everything else except this last 6 kilometers. And the reason they've kept it to the last is that it's the busiest, it's the most built up, it's the most difficult part. So if you are driving towards Ibadan now, once you pass this 6 kilometer stretch, you will see that the drive is smooth. So this is the one they saved for the last. And also because it's closest to Otedola Bridge, as they have explained, there is some technical reason why they have to leave all this to the last, so that in future they can avoid the risk of management or settlement in the approach to the bridge. So these are technical things that members of the public don't understand. Of course, we understand the anxiety and the expectation of the members of the public that this road should just be finished and we should get out. We intend to do just that, hopefully by the end of April. But I think it is important for you members of the press to help us highlight the challenges here. It's not that the construction company or engineers don't know how to build a road. The challenge is building it while people drive through it. And that's very, very difficult. As you can see all the traffic, it is in the same traffic that The bad soil that needs to be taken out has to be taken out. It is in the same bad traffic that good material needed for construction has to come. And citizens also have to go to work, go to market, go to school, go to the offices. So that's the real challenge, the heavy traffic and the behavior of drivers as well. So, but so far so good. We're on course. So we're in the last stretch of the race. Oftentimes when you are running a marathon, as you get towards the end, you get fatigued as you see the finish line. So we stay focused. That's one of the reasons I'm here also, to ensure that we will meet that deadline. Fingers crossed. I hope that we don't have any unforeseen developments again. One of the problems we just encountered after the flood was some of the impact of the bad soil. So if you just build the road and leave it, it will be the first part to fail. So there has to be some special attention to that as well. What there is left to say that we will do our best to deliver this on the expected date, which is 30th of April. Over the last 2 days, our controller has taken responsibility here when he got feedback about traffic challenges of people going for Easter. He had to take a decision to open up an extra lane. How that impacts on work is yet to be seen, but they are doing everything that they can to mitigate the risk of any lateness. The contractor has just told us that they have 3 different gangs working in this axis where we are. That is made up of 450 people. And they have about 110 machines, trucks, equipment here, and they are bringing more. As that adds to the traffic, it will also add to the challenge of management. And you will see FRSC is here, Trace from Ogun State is here, contractor has vehicle towing facilities here, so does FRSC, and I believe Trace is giving them support. So we're doing everything humanly possible to ensure that this is painless, but sometimes you can't avoid the pain in order to do good.
He says the contractor is running up work around OPIC, and with the completion of the asphalt works, the section will be open to traffic, while the bug access 2 will be completed by the end of the month of April.
Other side, and we are doing practically the same thing on this other side, where we are working on the outer side of the big apartment and connecting towards together where the traffic is used to the remaining 2 lanes. We are accommodating traffic coming from Otedola Estate and Magodo area by the help of our enforcement officers, the road safety and LASMA. That's how we are controlling the traffic around here. Other side, and we are doing practically the same thing on this other side, where we are working on the outer side of the big apartment and connecting towards together where the traffic is used to the remaining.
The assurances are meant to bring a sigh of relief to motorists and commuters.
As I tell people, in government, the work never ends. When you solve one problem, you deal with another problem. And I think that in order to relieve ourselves of making excuses, people will say, oh, it's because of the bad road. We want to first make sure the road is no longer the excuse. And then we can concentrate our energies on human behavior. And I think FRSC will then come out in full force to enforce the law on this road. Tricycles should not be on a federal highway, they will leave. Motorcycles have no business on this highway, they will leave. Traders on the right of way will have to be relocated. And of course, speed limits and all of that will then be observed. Trucks should not drive on the left side of the lane, they should be on the right side. That will be the work of FRSC. People who drive on this road will then randomly be checked, I would expect, to ensure that they are certified to use a highway in terms of having a driver's license. So that regime of law and order will kick in more seriously when we have solved the problem of the road. So it will not be any workman then blaming his tools. It will be the workman blaming himself that the road is no longer an excuse. But we have to understand, we've done a lot of research on the causes of those crashes. Some have to do with the incline, which we are looking at. We need to relocate some properties in order to provide some engineering solutions. But no matter how good the engineering solutions are, if you overspeed and you get to a slope, or if you overload your vehicle beyond what the vehicle is designed for and you can control, those accidents will still happen. So that is the next phase of governance, law and order. Vehicles carrying only what they are designed to carry, what the road is designed to bear, and observing the speed limits at which they are designed to be driven. So if a vehicle is designed to carry 40 tons of cargo and you are putting 80 tons of cargo, how can you realistically control that vehicle? So those are the challenges, law and order, and I'm sure that they will become top agenda for everybody as we move to solve first what is in our own responsibility. We have to discharge that before we ask others to do their own part.
And that's where we leave it on Special Report this week. I'm Olumide Macaulay. See you next time.